insisted she can wield.
Before we reach the president, the JBC, the Judicial and Bar Council, will be another arena for all these arguments. Because the Supreme Court directed the Judicial and Bar Council to submit the list. It has not issued a mandatory order. It ruled on the administrative case. So the JBC, as a constitutionally as a body created by the Constitution, can still make its own decision on whether it will submit the list on or before May 17.
So that's another arena where
the members of the JBC, as an independent body, will air their respective positions. But of course, the JBC will probably be guided by the decision of the Supreme Court. But it has to make its own decision, of course.
And then after that comes the president's own personal decision.
After that comes the president. When the list is submitted to the office of the president, then the president may or may not exercise the authority given to her by the decision of the Supreme Court, assuming it will not be reversed.
Okay, then if in the end we have seen what's coming, because this case has been bubbling in the background for quite some time now, and the outcome has been as predicted by many lawyers. Therefore, the president appoints a new chief justice. That's it? Are there any other legal remedies?
I don't see it ending with the appointment by the incumbent president of the next chief justice. The appointment will be questioned based on the same constitutional arguments that had been presented in the current case. And that will be another major case for decision by the Supreme Court.
By the Supreme Court itself?
By the Supreme Court
In other words,
itself.
they would have to sit in judgment over the fitness for
that is right.
Of their own chief.
Of their own chief justice. And that is very problematic for the Supreme Court. And that will be more problematic than the issue that they have now. Because by that time, then there would be a sitting, an incumbent, an appointed chief justice, and it is the appointment of that chief justice which is now being questioned.
What are the implications? Because I've noticed that all the presidential candidates who, of course, are affected by this, and that every future president wants to be the one to appoint the next chief justice because it helps, in a sense, put their stamp on the court. That they all oppose it, but some to varying degrees. And one sort of reluctance to sort of comment further is that they don't want to be responsible for provoking a constitutional crisis. How would this provoke a constitutional crisis by opposing?
Well, if the duly elected president refuses to honor the appointment of the chief justice, then that is a very serious situation, with one branch not honoring the appointed leader of the other branch.
And how would this be resolved in any legal way then?
Unfortunately, if you have the Constitution, the Supreme Court itself, and the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court involved in the controversy, it is a situation that can only be resolved ultimately by the Supreme Court if it involves constitutional issues.
Could it be involved, for example, that if the one candidate has said that if it can be shown that there were other considerations other than pure law in the decision, that it opens up not just the next Chief Justice, but members of the court at present to impeachment. How does that work?
Well, impeachment is always based on culpable violations of the Constitution. So that is a political process. Impeachment is always a political process that can be started by the next duly elected legislators. And if that happens, then we will have practically the entire court on trial, from the Chief Justice
which would be an
down to the associate
unprecedented
justices.
situation as well.
Definitely, it will be unprecedented.
And so that would definitely be in the manner of a constitutional
That's a major constitutional crisis that we hope will not happen.
So what are the alternatives? If you were to step back, because things have become very heated in terms of this situation, what is sort of the win-win way forward, if you were to use Ramos's own terms?
Well, the Supreme Court should have defended its own turf, meaning the Supreme Court justices should be more conservative and leaning towards the independence of the judiciary. So instead of giving away its independence, instead of immediately recognizing the authority of the incumbent president to appoint the next Chief Justice, then the Supreme Court should be more strict in doing that, and instead say that there is need to protect the independence of the judiciary, and the appointment by the incumbent president will be seen as incursions into judicial independence. It will be better to have an interpretation of the Constitution that will be
that is restrictive of the president's
that is restrictive of judicial independence, and would be simply adopting the 1998 decision that was well written.
At this point, for a final question to you, is this sort of a specific exemption that Supreme Court has granted itself, or does this now apply to the entire judiciary?
There is no consensus, there is no majority decision among the justices to make it applicable to the entire judiciary, which again becomes problematic. If they rely on the position of the prohibition provision in Article 7, then that applies to the entire judiciary, not just to the Supreme Court. But they don't have a definite ruling on that.
Okay, so that's yet another avenue.
That's yet another.
Thank you very much, Attorney Manuel.
Thanks
for joining us, Marlon Manuel. I'm Manolo Quezon, the Explainer.